In this session, we will discuss about cell cycle. The life period or the cycle of growth of a cell is called cell cycle. That is, from the origin of a cell to the next cell division by forming two daughter cells. This period is called a cell cycle. To take any cell, the cell will grow, mature, and then divide into two cells. Then the two cells will divide into four, and this process is continuing in an organism by which the size or the mass of an organism is increasing. And the phases of cell division, or if you take a cell division, it can be divided into an interphase and a mitotic phase followed by cytokinesis, or the cell cycle can be divided into an interphase, a mitotic phase, and cytokinesis. Interphase is the phase from the origin of a cell to the cell division, or in interphase, a cell after the birth or after the origin of a cell, the time till the next cell division is considered as interphase. And after interphase, the cell will undergo division. It can be mitosis or meiosis. Then there will be cytokinesis, which is called cell division. And interphase is the largest phase in the growth of a cell, or in the cell cycle, interphase is the largest phase. And this is referred to as the time between two cell division, and the gap or the time of interphase is defined as the space or the time gap between two cell divisions. During interphase, the major process happening are cell will grow and mature, it will duplicate the DNA, and it will prepare for the division. So interphase can be considered as a phase of preparation, or cell is preparing for its next division. And interphase is formed of three separate stages, as I told you, and this is the interphase. This interphase, or if you see the cycle of a cell, only this much portion is mitosis. The remaining whole time, or the remaining whole process, or the remaining whole period is interphase. Interphase is formed of three separate stages. The first stage is called G1 phase. G1 phase is otherwise called first growth phase. G1 phase is otherwise called first growth phase. It is also called as first gap phase. And here the cell doubles in size, or the cell will enlarge. Maximum enlargement of the cell will happen at this time. And this is a metabolism oriented, or this is a metabolically activate phase of a cell, and the cell is metabolically very active. So at this condition, cell produces all the structures, whether it is the organelles or the macromolecules or the biosynthetic materials. It will make all the structures needed to carry out its function. And in this period, the cell will grow maximum, mature, and differentiate to become a matured cell. The second stage is called S phase, or the synthetic phase, and the major agenda or major process happening here is called DNA copying. The copying of DNA, or the duplication of DNA of a cell, is called replication. And the replication is a phase where exact copy of a DNA is taken, or during duplication or replication, without any change, a copy of DNA will be produced. And this is the base for heredity of an organism as well. And the third phase is called G2 phase, or preparatory phase. So in G1 phase, cell grown and enlarged. In S phase, it produced the DNA and it required for further cell division. And in G2 phase, cell is preparing for next division. So cell require whole lot of enzymes, whole lot of biomolecules for next cell division. So cell will enlarge everything, cell will make everything. Maybe cell will synthesize the organelles also, which it can give for the daughter cell. So cell prepares to divide, cell produces structures needed for cell division, and also finally the cell checks for any errors which are in the process or whether all materials are available. Cell may be doing an error check at this phase, and that is the G2 phase. Followed by G2 phase, cell can go for mitosis or meiosis. Here we will discuss about mitosis. Mitosis is called equational division, where cell divide all the genetic material into two equal halves, then form two nuclear membranes, and this is the process what is happening mitosis. So in mitosis, one nucleus will be divided into two nucleus, and this is called equational division. We all know that DNA is present within the nucleus, or DNA is present within the chromosomes, and chromosomes are made up of DNA. So this DNA is giving all the instructions for the growth of an organism, development of organism, and all the metabolic process within an organism. So DNA, all DNA or the whatever DNA is present in a parental cell, it has to be there in the daughter cells. That is maintained during mitotic division, hence it is called equational division. So for equally dividing DNA from parent to daughter cell, during interphase, DNA, all copy of DNA will be duplicated. That is the significance of replication. There are four stages of mitosis. They are prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. These are the four stages of mitosis: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. First stage is called prophase, and this is the first phase in mitosis. And at this stage, the nuclear membrane starts disappearing, and nuclear membrane will start disappearing so that there won't be any nucleus further, and spindle fiber forms cytoplasm, or in the cytoplasm, small microfibrillar structures called spindle fibers will be forming, and the chromosome will be linearly divided into two equal halves to become two chromatids, and the centrioles are present, and the two centrioles unite at right angles to each other to form a structure called centrosome, and there will be appearance of centrosome. And this is the stage of prophase, where nuclear membrane disappears, spindle apparatus start their appearance, chromosome will be linearly divided into two chromatids forming an X-shaped structure. The second stage is called metaphase. This is otherwise called, this is the second stage of mitosis. Here, the spindle apparatus has formed completely, and the X-shaped chromosomes are arranged in the center, in an equatorial plane or in the middle layer. There is complete disappearance of nuclear envelope. There is no nuclear envelope now, and the spindle apparatus fibers from both sides, the spindle apparatus starts their production from centrosome. They will be growing towards the middle, or from this point to this point they are growing, so they will reach the chromosomes. So the chromosomes and the equatorial plane, nuclear membrane completely disappeared. The spindle apparatus grow from two poles to the kinetochore, and the spindle fibers are of two types. Some fibers will connect one centrosome to another, one pole to pole. They are called non-chromosomal fibers or continuous fibers. Some will connect the centromere of a chromosome. They are called centromere fibers, or they are called chromosomal fibers. So this is the metaphase. The third phase is called anaphase, and in this phase, the spindle apparatus begin to shorten. Spindle apparatus will start shortening. As a result, they will push the centromere towards, or they will push the half of the chromosome to each side. As a result, the centromere will undergo a division, and this is the centromere division what is happening, and each equal half of the chromosome, because of the pulling, or because of the pulling of the chromosomal fibers and because of the pushing of the divided centromere, migrate to the poles, migrate to both poles, and thus the chromosomes are splitted into half. But it should be noted that at interphase, the chromosome have doubled to a stage which is double of the actual diploid condition of a chromosome of a cell, and hence due to this division there is no reduction in genetic material will be happening. That is the significance of equational division. Or mitosis is called equational division because the genetic materials are divided equally, and here also the genetic material have doubled during interphase, and they are divided into two equal halves during anaphase. And last phase is called telophase. At telophase, the chromosomes will reach the poles. They start forming the new nuclear membrane. Spindle apparatus will disappear, and within a cell there will be two nucleus, and all the spindle apparatus will disappear, and also the chromosome will start loosening, or in prophase chromatin reticulum condensed to form the chromosome, but at telophase this formed chromosomes again decoils or release its coiling to form chromatin reticulum, and this is the final stage of mitosis. Followed by mitosis, cytokinesis or cell division will happen. A furrow will be formed on the cell. This was the individual cell. A furrow, a small furrow will be formed, and this is called a division furrow, or it is otherwise called a cleavage furrow. It's called a cleavage furrow. And if it is plant cells, the phragmoplast or the membranous bodies which are formed from Golgi bodies will be arranged on this inner to this furrow, and they unite together, and all these phragmoplast vacuoles unite together to form a cell plate, and this cell plate will be the equivalent to middle lamella later, and on the middle lamella the primary and secondary wall layers will be synthesized, and thus cytokinesis will happen. This is the process happening in mitosis. So in mitosis there is condensation of chromosome, disappearance of nuclear membrane and nucleolus, appearance of spindle apparatus will happen in prophase, arrangement of chromosomes in the equatorial plane happens in metaphase, and spindle apparatus will form completely, nuclear membrane will disappear completely. In anaphase, the centromere will be divided because of the pulling of the chromosomal fibers. Chromosomes will be moving to two poles, and the spindle apparatus will push the chromosome towards both sides. The dividing centromere also push each other, and at telophase, the centromeres or these divided chromosomes will reach the poles. New nuclear membrane will be formed, and thus within a cell there will be two nucleus. The nuclear membrane will appear, as well as nucleolus will also start appearing. Now the cell will undergo, the cytoplasm will divide each other by forming a furrow and arrangement of phragmoplast, and thus cytokinesis will happen. This is mitosis. And thanks for your patience.